Hi, everyone. Hey, great to be back for module number 2 of our Be Relevant, Stay Relevant recordings here of a presentation that I did earlier this year at Cal State Fullerton Center for Family Business. So if you haven't watched the first module, I definitely recommend going back and taking a look at that first. But we'll jump into module number 2. So where we left off the other day when we recorded this was looking at, as we're figuring out how to be relevant and stay relevant in this new world that we're in, the exercise that we left off before was with looking at our customer personas, right? And taking a look at them, pulling them out, brushing them off, and figuring out of where we're going to go from here. So one thing that I was thinking about was if you're in a position of listen, I don't have a customer persona right now. Coming into this, I did not have this built out. So modifying here, module number 2, before building on and trying to figure out how to continually evolve that, was to back up a step for those of you that maybe didn't have customer personas to begin with, right, of who these people are. So just as a reminder, what we had the other day was at McKinsey, I went through and kind of talked about who Jenny Dinnen is, right? Early 40-ish business owner, mom of 2, wife, a lot of things going on in our lives. We also have here at McKinsey, if you remember, we looked at Jessica and Kent, right? That's who we are working through and looking at their information. But let's say that we don't have, that you don't have customer personas yet and who we're working with and talking to. So what I thought was, one of the interesting things is coming in here and taking a look at one thing that I want to remind most people here, especially in this time that we've got a little bit of extra time on our hands, is you are probably sitting on quite a bit of information already about who your customers are. So a couple different things here of if we don't have customer personas yet. A few things. One, first, I love this quote here, is listening is as powerful a means of communication and influence as to talk well. So what I love here is your customers, and if you've been in business for any period of time and have any number of customers, they have been talking to you and they've been sharing information with you, right? So what we need to do is we need to stop and we need to listen and digest the information that they're giving us about who they are, what they want, what they look like, what their pain points are, those types of things. So what I encourage us here is, how do we go back and we look at the information that we currently are sitting on, right? What information do you have? So one of the first things that we can easily go back and take a look in your sales data, your CRM information, is who are our customers, right? Do we know, and do you know any basic demographics on them? Do you know location-wise, where are you selling the most? Are you a local business? Are you regional? Are you national? Where are you selling? What's happening? What are they buying, right? What is their online behavior that they have? We're probably sitting on a lot of this information. Things like, what do they purchase? What are their trends and their patterns? How often are they purchasing from you? If they're purchasing one product, and then typically, then how are we stair-stepping them up to other products? This is the rich information that I would highly recommend going back now and taking a look at this information and pulling it out, right? Of starting to dig into these trends and figure out what's going on here. Also, retention rates, right? So how many of your customers are one-time customers? How many are coming back? How often are they coming back? This information is valuable to be able to start digging in and creating this story, right? Do I have Jenny, who's a multiple purchaser and purchases every 3 months from me? Do I have somebody, I'm making this up, as a Kent, who purchases one time but isn't going to be coming back again? I remember when I was working at HD Supply, B2B side of Home Depot, we had a triage department where we would watch and see, like, how often was somebody purchasing from us, and if they typically purchased on a 3-month cycle and it had been 4 or 5 months, then we would reach out to them. We knew exactly where they were in the cycle, and we knew that we were possibly going to be losing them, so we reached out. So let's for sure make sure that we understand where they are. We touched on it a little bit here, but online behavior, there is a tremendous amount of information that's out there. So even though you're not talking to your customers on a daily basis, they are talking to you by telling you what they're doing, of where they're clicking on their website, how they're getting to your website, how much time they're spending on your website. This is all valuable information that during this time we can stop, we can take a look, and we can start digging in to figure what's out there. I did realize, a lot of times when I talk to companies, and they say you're probably sitting on a treasure trove of information about your customers. So we don't even know where to begin. We don't even know where to begin. So we do have Mackenzie, and you can email me, and I'll put my information here at the bottom, or actually I'll chat with my team about getting this online. But we have a data inventory checklist of some different places of where to even begin, right? We've got things like our customer database. Do you have any primary research that you guys have done already, right? Do you have any customer satisfaction surveys? Do you have any information and surveys that you are sitting on today? We can leverage secondary information, and we'll get into that in our next piece here, but there is so much valuable information out there and research that exists today. So secondary, not your own primary that you've done yourself, but information and data that we'll get into our next module to be able to leverage that. Again, your CRM system. Is there information in here that you have? Let's see, social media data, social analytics, Google Analytics. There is a tremendous amount of information that we're probably already sitting on. So what I would recommend, and this is really if you do not have customer personas that are built out already, even if you do have customer personas already, I'd go back and take a look of what information are you currently sitting on today that we can beef this out a little bit more and make these even more rich personas that we had before. Another great idea is going out and chatting and talking to the frontline employees. And the people that are dealing with your customers on a daily basis. These individuals and people that talk to your customers every single day is so, so valuable. So I would guess here and assume that if you are, and we're talking right now a lot about sales and marketing, right? So sales and marketing teams right now are sitting here thinking, what should we be putting out? What type of information, what type of messaging should we be putting out to our customers, right? So we're trying to figure out who these customers are. I would recommend go and talk to your call centers right now. What are the questions that are coming in? What are the concerns that the customers have when they're calling? What are they asking? What's going on? Yesterday I chatted with a really good friend who's in the financial services industry. I'm in the automotive space, and he said, they, I think that they were having 1,200 calls a month previously, and I think they're at like 10,000 calls a day. It's unbelievable. I mean, one, I know why people are calling. One, can we get some deferred payments and things like that? But what else and what questions are these customers calling in and asking about? And is that information that then can be translated to what our marketing department can be doing? So going and chatting with the call centers of what's happening, go and talking to your sales teams. What are they hearing from customers today and what's going on? So one, I'd go back and take a look at all the information that you're sitting on, pulling this information out, start trying to see trends, patterns, whatnot. So then the second question is, what do I do, right? What do I do with all this information? How do I start pulling it together? So similar to what we had yesterday, where we've got Kent on one page and we've got Jessica on another page, and we start outlining, really, I would recommend, this does not have to be overcomplicated. We can work on putting together templates for you of customer personas if you want to, but quite honestly, take a blank piece of paper, put a picture up here that we could be, cutting out a picture or having somebody's face on here of what we're doing, and start filling in, how long have they been at the job? What is an industry that we're going after? What do they typically purchase from us? How often do they purchase from us? What are their customers? So start filling out on a piece of paper, and then we can start talking about how do we get these customer personas to come to life. But really, at the beginning right here, I would start pulling out as much information as you have, putting it on a sheet of paper, and start building out these personas. Some of the next steps that we'll be working on is validating this, right? So then going out, and we can validate at scale to say, is this truly accurate in a representation of where we're going forward and where we stand in the marketplace today. But right now, I would suggest putting together some simple customer personas and going back in and take a look at the information that you have. It's a great exercise right now as we're sitting on some extra time at the moment and maybe some resources to go in and really understand who are your customers and what are they doing. So I really would recommend, because the thing is, and this is actually where our module number 2 was supposed to be going in, so we'll dig into this in the next one. But really what we're trying to do here is, I read a book a while ago, and for anybody, it's Beloved Brands by Graham Robertson. And this is a picture and quote that he has in the book around customer insights. So this is where we're getting to here, is we are trying to dig deeper, because if we come back to, we're trying to figure out how to be relevant and stay relevant in the future, right? And the way that we can be relevant and then stay relevant is truly understand who our customers are, what their needs and wants are, and how do we connect our services and products to what they have. In order to do that, we need to understand who these customers and people are, who they truly are. And in order to do that, we need to lean into customer insights. Customer insights, and I love, love, love this quote here. Customer insights are little secrets hidden beneath the surface that can explain the underlying behaviors, motivations, and pain points of what's happening with our customers. If we stay above the surface and we really only focus on things that don't surface level information, that male, female, ethnicity, age, those are great to start with, and we need to understand what we're doing, but we need to get underneath the surface to figure out what is really moving these people, what's happening, what are their concerns. This is where we start drilling in and figuring out, and that's where you're going to get these insights from your sales team, from the call center, from digging into the data about what's going on, what are they searching for in the internet, what's happening. Because the thing is, if we stay up at that top level, that is not going to be a competitive advantage. Everybody out there has the information up at the top because that's the easy part, right? That's the part that we get to. Where we need to start drilling down into, and we'll get more into this as we go on there, is how to get underneath. So I challenge you, as you're putting together your customer personas, to go above and beyond just the basic demographics. I challenge you to start talking about what really is getting these people moving and what are the issues that they're facing with today. So I hope that this one maybe was going back a little bit of before of how to create these customer personas, but I really wanted to make sure as we start moving forward that if you didn't have that phase 1, this is just some good information of where we are and how we have. Next, we'll be getting into, and so this will be module number 2, but knowing your market, and this is leaning into more of the secondary. So we'll lean into this a bit more in the next module that we have. But for right now, for module number 2, here is building out those customer personas, looking at all the data that you're sitting on today. And if there's any information that we can help you of even just trying to figure out what you're sitting on, please feel free to reach out. We've got all sorts of resources that we can be able to help with and send them out. So thank you so much. And I look forward and I'm excited to dig into module number 3 with you here shortly.